It's really watered down. How's it going, everybody? My name is Dick McCaffrey. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I have a video here by a YouTuber by the name of Riley J. Dennis. Now, I don't know really anything about this YouTuber, but from a quick glance at their YouTube page, it looks like they are a transgender rights activist, queer activist, kind of a social commentator. And I've been asked by a few people to talk about transgenderism. I've been asked to talk about dating preferences as far as dating a transgender. I have also been asked to talk about transgenders in sports. Today, we're actually going to be talking about transgender dating. And we're going to be reacting to a video by Riley J. Davis about dating preferences are discriminatory. I don't know how I feel about that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Riley J. Davis, Why Your Dating Preferences Are Discriminatory. Let's get into it.
Would you date someone who's trans? Would you date someone who's black? Would you date someone who's fat? Would you date someone who's disabled? Now, honestly, I don't know what your answer is to those questions, but I've met a surprising number of people who would say no to all or at least some of them. Their argument is that it's just a preference and that you can't control who you're attracted to.
Did you see the little box up at the top right? It's just a preference. Spoiler, it's not. What the hell? Of course it's just a preference. Everyone has their taste in people. Whether you like someone who has a great sense of humor, whether you like someone who has intelligence, who has a great body, whatever. Everyone has their own preferences. You got women that are incredibly attracted to guys with abs and big muscles. You got guys called chubby chasers that like women that are a little bit bigger. Everyone has their preference.
I think most of the time that this is brought up, it's in regards to race. I'll link to a couple really good videos in the description about racial dating preferences, but in this video, I want to talk about our other biases. Let's start with trans people. Would you date a trans person, honestly? Think about it for a second.
Thinking.
Okay, got your answer?
Yep. No. I'm sorry, that's just my preference. A trans person is obviously somebody who transitioned from one gender to another. I'm attracted to women, okay? I'm attracted to women. If I'm going to date a woman, I want to date a woman who is a woman, who has been a woman all of their life, not a man who still has a penis. I personally am not attracted to men. Why blame me for that? I'm attracted to women. And just because I don't want to date a trans woman or a man who is transitioning into a woman who still has a penis, penises aren't my thing. Vaginas are.
Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory.
No, it's not.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're a horrible person who hates trans people. There was probably a time in my life when I said I wouldn't date a trans person. But since then, I've thought critically about it and changed my mind. I could sit here and show you photos of conventionally attractive trans people.
Side note, if you look at this person, I think it's pretty safe to assume that this is a male transitioning into a female. But here's one of the big things that I have noticed. The voice is a bit deeper. And not only that, but you can see the beard stubble on his face. I'm sorry, on her face. That's another indication that that's a guy. Just because you put on some makeup and grow your hair out long and wear it like a woman does not mean that you are fully a woman and does not mean that I'm going to be attracted to you.
There are definitely trans people who you would never know are trans unless they told you, because they pass for cis. And that might convince some of you. But I think arguing that you would only like a trans person if you didn't know they were trans is a poor argument. I think you could be attracted to any trans person, whether they pass or not. I think the main concern that people have in regards to dating a trans person is that they won't have the genitals that they expect.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we associate penises with men and vaginas with women, some people think they could never date a trans man with a vagina or a trans woman with a penis. But I think that people are more than their genitals. I think that you could feel attraction to someone without knowing what's between their legs.
Good for you. But there's always going to be that physical attraction, that sexual attraction that attracts you to somebody. Whether you see them for the first time on maybe a dating website on Tinder or on Match.com or Facebook has a dating site or has a dating app now. Usually one of the first things that is going to attract you to them is their physicality, what they look like on the outside, because you don't know that person on the inside yet. So you're going off of a physical attraction. There's a lot of people, myself included, that can usually pick out a transgender person. It's sometimes not that hard. Transgender women tend to overdo it a bit, I suppose, and try to make themselves look more womanly than anything, but really you just kind of make yourself look like a really bad drag queen.
And if you were to say that you're only attracted to people with vaginas or people with penises, it really feels like you're reducing people just to their genitals. You're kind of objectifying them, but you're thinking of them more as genitals than objects. So I guess you're kind of genitalifying them? Anyway, my point is we have implicit biases that we were raised with or that we developed over time, and they can be hard to get rid of.
That we were raised with? No, that's just how it is. I wasn't raised to be straight. That's just who I am. I'm straight. I'm sorry. I wasn't raised to be straight. That's just who I am. I am physically attracted to women, to boobs, to vaginas. I love those. I do not like men penis.
And I think this can be especially prominent within the queer community. Gay men often pride themselves on being disgusted by vaginas, and the same goes for lesbian women with penises.
I do have to say, penises do not look very good. I have a penis myself, and I think it looks disgusting. Penises do not photograph well. They do not look good. So, okay, I will give you that. Penises look gross.
It's difficult because some queer people have built their sexual identities on these repulsions, but I don't think they're innate at all. If you met someone who was extremely attractive, had a great personality, but didn't have the genitals that you wanted, you might be surprised to find that it isn't a deal breaker.
Wrong. That's a pretty big secret to hold from somebody. When you find out that somebody that you love or you have fallen for is really someone of the same sex as you, that's a pretty big bombshell, and a lot of people really don't recover from that. I understand, you can try to use references like the Crying Game movie or something like that, where in a way it's kind of like Stockholm Syndrome, I suppose. You fall in love with your captor, I guess. But in this case, you're a man who falls in love with another man, but not knowing that they are a man the entire time. To me, that's pretty deceitful. I think that if somebody is a trans person, that should be like one of the very first things that they tell you. That is usually first date kind of stuff, I would think. Not something down the road and eventually it pops up when you're maybe getting intimate, and then you come to find out that maybe as a guy, you're getting intimate with a trans woman, not knowing that they are a trans woman, and you go to kind of reach down in between their legs, and you find a pretty surprising surprise. No, that is a pretty big deal breaker.
As someone who is trans and gay, sometimes people ask me with a very accusatory tone if I would date a girl with a penis. Because there's this stereotype that trans lesbians are just predatory cis men creeping on cis women.
No, that's not really true. I don't think that. And I don't think that trans women are creeping on guys or other women. I don't think that. There are probably some guys who do that and try to get away with it. Probably a big example was when Target was trying to say that anybody could use whatever bathroom that they identified as, and it made a lot of people really uncomfortable, because especially somebody like me who has 2 young daughters, and I see a flat out male walk into a woman's restroom while my daughters are in there, yeah, that's gonna piss me off, and I'm gonna get pretty defensive because I don't know what this guy's intention is. He could possibly identify as a woman and claim that he does, or it could be a sexual predator that is trying to use the new law or whatever as a loophole to try to see naked women or naked girls. That's my biggest concern with it.
But the thing is, I absolutely could be attracted to a woman with a penis. I could be attracted to any woman, cis or trans. If I find you attractive, I don't care what you have down there. But we know that sexual orientations are more innate than learned. They're more nature and less nurture. Gay conversion therapy has been proven not to work, but you can unlearn your own prejudices. It just takes time and conscious effort.
How is it prejudice? How is it prejudice to not want to date a man? Okay, I'm saying all of this wrong. I get it, okay? But let's just say for the sake of the rest of this video, I am talking about me dating a man, okay? Because I'm confusing myself now. Why is it prejudice that I would not want to date a man? Somebody who is biologically still a man. They still have a penis between their legs. No, I don't want that. Why is that prejudice?
And the way that we talk about potentially dating trans people has a lot in common with the way we discuss other preferences. Saying that you're not attracted to fat people isn't innate. It's informed by a society that tells you that being thin is ideal.
In a way, I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, everyone does have their preferences. There are guys that are chubby chasers. There are women that are chubby chasers. I myself, I like women with a little bit of extra meat on their bones. I like thick women. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But yes, I do agree that when you have magazines like Cosmopolitan, like Maxim magazine, where all of these women are in incredible shape and really skinny and blonde or brunette and big boobed or whatever, yes, you're kind of sending a wrong signal, making women think that you need to look like this in order to be attractive. But the same kind of goes for men with magazines like GQ. You have to look a certain way. Your body type has to be a certain way for you to be attractive to other women. I think that that's kind of wrong, but unfortunately, that's just how society kind of is right now.
Everything in the media you consume is bombarding you with messages that skinny is beautiful and fat is ugly. And even the nicest of people absorb these messages to some degree. But again, if you find someone attractive and really enjoy spending time with them, there's no reason why their weight should be a factor. Especially since we know that the relationship between weight and health is extremely complex.
Okay, what you're talking about here, Riley, is two different things. You're talking about somebody being attracted to a person who, yes, is overweight, or somebody who has a little bit more meat on their bones. And you're trying to compare that to being attracted to the same gender. It's not the same. It's not really a comparison.
And you really can't make any moral judgments on a person based on their weight. And lastly, let's talk about disabled people. Disabilities come in a very wide range, from being deaf to being in a wheelchair to only having one arm. And I think it's pretty ridiculous to say that you couldn't be attracted to any person who has any of those disabilities. Disabilities can happen to anyone. Someone you're extremely attracted to today could become disabled tomorrow. And that shouldn't make your attraction to them disappear. Though if it does, it might not be because of them, but rather because you have some preconceived ideas about disabled people.
Again, you're trying to compare apples to oranges here. We're talking about somebody with a disability versus somebody who is the same, technically still the same biological sex as you. It's not the same.
That are just inaccurate and harmful. Unsurprisingly, this is another case of the media telling you that a certain group isn't attractive. Disabled people are rarely romantic leads. Their stories in movies and TV shows are often tragic, but that doesn't reflect the reality that disabled people can be happy and have dating lives and be attractive. Now, if you're not attracted to someone, you're not attracted to them. I'm not going to tell you that you have to be attracted to this fat person or that trans person or that disabled person.
Isn't that what you're basically saying? You're saying that if we're not attracted to those kind of people, then we're assholes? Isn't that what this whole video is about?
But the more you work at unlearning your own prejudices, the more you'll be able to see people from these groups as people rather than tired stereotypes. Unlearning our own biases doesn't happen overnight, and I don't have a step-by-step instruction guide for you. But I think if you can accept that these prejudices exist in all of us, even you can identify them when they come up and work to change how you think about them. It will most likely be a long, slow process.
Why force yourself to do this? You have your preferences. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. If a man is attracted to another man, have at it. That's their preference. If a woman is attracted to another woman, have at it. That's their preference. If somebody is attracted to somebody with 3 fucking nipples, have at it. That's your preference. There is nothing wrong with having preferences, people. Whatever Riley is trying to tell you is wrong. There is nothing wrong with having preferences.
But I think it's worth it. Because these dating preferences are ultimately harmful to people who don't fit into your box of what a conventionally attractive person looks like. It makes people feel isolated, alone, and unwanted to hear that they're universally unattractive to people.
That's not my problem. That's not everyone else's problem. Sorry, it's not. I'm not gonna worry about the rest of the frickin' world and their feelings.
I don't think there's anyone out there who somebody doesn't find attractive. We're sold this image of the conventionally attractive person, but in reality, all kinds of people around the world are constantly dating, having sex, finding people attractive, getting married. It's not only the conventionally attractive who find love or have sex. So by working on ourselves to dispel that idea, we can make the world a more welcoming and loving place for everybody, no matter how they look. This video is a part of my Feminism with Riley series that I'm doing in collaboration with Everyday Feminism.
Of course, it's a feminist. Should have guessed it.
A website dedicated to helping you stand up to and break down everyday oppression. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos about various feminist topics. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
So that was Your Dating Preferences Are Discriminatory by Riley J. Dennis. No, they're not. And don't let anyone try to tell you any different, especially this person. Sorry. Not sorry. People, there is nothing wrong with having a preference, okay? All right, let's use this as a scenario, okay? I'm a straight guy. Let's say I do meet a transgender person. I meet a trans woman on a dating website or whatever. I go out on a date with them. Yeah, maybe it's good. We have a good time. We have some similar interests. We enjoyed each other's company, whatever. And then we decide, hey, let's try a second date. And then maybe this date, we start to get a bit more intimate, start to get a little bit more physical, I suppose. What Riley is trying to basically tell you here, everybody, is that if they have a penis or they have a vagina and you're trying to get intimate with this person, you should just accept it. So what if the person has a penis? So what if the person has a vagina? Well, sorry, but I'm not interested in sucking dick. I'm interested in vagina, not penis. And yeah, that is a pretty big deal breaker for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this video today. I hope you really liked it. Make sure you leave a comment for me. Let me know what you thought. Leave me a like if you like this video. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are coming up. Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this video. Catch you in the next one.